the head directs what happens in the body. That's why we said let's have a pastors and ministers meeting where we as leaders can talk to ourselves, encourage ourselves, and see how we align with the new dawn mentality. So that's what birthed this particular conference. Instead of just jumping into the mainstream of the churches, let's talk to leaders. So we have here represented the various provinces in Lagos, and leaders, and pastors that are not presently in PFN were also invited, and I saw a lot of them in the crowd. So, and I think God has done that today, just getting the leaders to align with the new dawn mindset. So we also were able to get relevant speakers to hit the very core areas we needed, and then thank God for Apostle Joshua Selman wrapping it up all together, because from his presentation he was able to collapse it together, the administrative part, the character, the love. My joy about this session is the fact that it touched on all the pillars we're working with, reconciliation, how that love can work in the first place. How do you really love someone if you yourself are not even too okay? That leaders have to behold themselves, so that they can express that to other people. Then relevance, he said something about good works. That there's some people that will never hear the gospel until they see what we're doing. And I think that's where our country is at now, where they don't want to hear the Pentecostal stuff, just do something. So we're encouraging good works. And one of the things we want to do next is, okay, there are many things we're already doing, but we want to communicate it well, we want to have a strategy. We have a strategy for communicating that, most likely from November, where there'll be a kind of bulletin or something, the e-version, or printed version, where you can just see what Global Impact Church did last month, or Household of David did 3 months ago. And when people can see that coming in regularly, it gives you an idea that we are relevant as much as possible. And then the other aspects of impact that gives us relevance. So I'm so glad that today has gone the way that's gone. I hope that gives you an overview.
Yes, so we can now begin to ask our questions. We'll make it as short as possible. So Martina, let's begin with you.
I just want to know how often can say this, because it's a good one. When you said it at the inauguration, we were like, oh fine, it's a good one to start with. How often would this be?
This kind of meeting?
Yes.
It's going to be taking place at various levels. There are other ones that you might not be there. For instance, we had almost every leadership of Lagos here. But the other ones we do at smaller levels, the province chairman, which are 21, the deputies, let's say 42. We have 16 directors, so there are meetings, on that level. So various layers of meetings. So, and we'll keep building that until we have this one again next year. But that'll be like the one we're looking out for Easter Sunday, where let Christians in Lagos even gather and worship, pray, worship, and then there'll be injection of some of this mindset into everyone. And I think that's a good start. Maybe we want to repeat this next year, hopefully in October again, on that venue where we can come together and then keep sharpening ourselves. So.
You said unity is not uniformity.
Yeah.
I know probably not some other people are not part of PFM now. What is that? What is that? Is that opening for those who are not part of PFM to come in? And you said that still does not mean you're going to take in everybody without having.
No, but this is PFM. PFM needs to even hear it ourselves first. You get it? And thankfully we have that kind of dimension today. The other blocks, PFM is a part of CAN, right? So I think as we get our own house in order, we'll find what to contribute to CAN positively, which affects other blocks. So it's not necessarily about them coming in that, it's about us even being a blessing to the other blocks.
Uche, you can go ahead.
We are talking about salvation, and the church is not insulated from society, which is governed by the state. Do you see anything the state is doing by policy that could, or that have been preventing fed food from the destination you want them to get to?
I don't think so. I think the church just needs to be the church. We are salt and we are light. When you shine your light, darkness will recede as much as possible. I don't think so. We're grateful for the Lagos State Governor. He's doing a lot. He's a Christian, so. Yeah.
No, the word state, I use it generic. I'm referring to federal government now.
I'm Lagos State.
No, I think what he's trying to say, he said those who are representing the PFM at this national level? Who are those representing PFM and how are they representing you people? And what message are they taking there? I think that was
federal government policies.
Is it affecting
the church from taking fed food from where the church wanted to go to?
I don't think so. I think the church just needs to continue to rise up and be the light that we are. Maybe we have more rescuing to do for the nation as a church. And they're also waiting. They might not say it, but they are waiting. So we need to just raise up and be the church indeed. Yeah.
All right, Chinyere, please ask your question. Okay, it's directed at Apostle.
My name is Apostle. Let me ask. My name is Ikeja. I want to ask in summary, we've had so much to do. What's the message to the church, especially at this time?
Relevance. Whatever that means to everybody, based on what we say, relevance. For some people, they need to up their good works. For another person, the relevance is your character. That a changed pastor will impact his family. That's relevance. So everybody needed to pick something today that will help you to be truly salt and light. Relevance. And I think that will impact on society a lot more. A changed leader will impact his community one way or the other. It trickles down. So relevance. For me, that's the central. And this at 10, I think that's one of the central things that people are working on. Relevance. Not. I'm pained when it looks like they put the church on the side. You can put light on the side. Light. You need light. So the question is, why are they doing that? We have to, fix that as much as we can, which I think God did a lot today. Yeah.
I was surprised that Pastor Selman talked so much about the church coming up with a statement.
Oh, we're working on that. Yeah. But I'm going to dedicate the whole period to that. Like creating statement of faith, doctrinal standards. We're going to dedicate a whole directory to that. It's a major project which will help not just Lagos, Nigeria.
And what is happening?
Timeline. We're working on this.
All right, Chinyere.
Okay. My question is to
Introduce yourself, then you ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir. Nice meeting you, sir. I'm Chinyere Davies, right from New Telegraph newspaper. You really spoke a lot over there. But my question has to do with what you said concerning the nation. You said the problem we have in Nigeria is that some Christians, they are not called into the ministry, they are not called into church. The open establishing churches, but they are called to follow Jesus. Could you speak more on this, sir?
No. It's a general pattern that when God calls men, it's not some, everyone. God calls people to himself. You see, and it was an attempt to guide our prioritizing God. Understand? So you come to Jesus, you are built, and then you are sent. And that there are consequences if you ignore that pattern. Something happens when you come to Jesus, you are refined, you are built, you are trained. Then you can serve his light and his grace to the nations. So it is always a call to Jesus, then you are sent to the nation. That's the model. So that was what I was giving perspective to.
Okay, so some people that are probably church leaders, they have no business doing that.
Well, that's not for me. We have the
from what you said.
Okay, sir, I think.
All right, I have a question. Okay.
The aspect where you talked about entitlement, this bishop, doctor, I think Pastor Yemi also talked about it. What do you think that this has actually done to the Christian faith?
I don't think that is the real issue. The real issue is death to the flesh and transformation. When an individual becomes transformed, title or no title, the professor is a professor, even if he doesn't say he's a professor. He shows he's a professor. So I think the whole idea is not so much about title, rather to pursue genuine healing, transformation, and like Nathan Chairman said, the desire to be light and salt. I think the centrality of this discourse is about that, light and salt. So all of these that we're seeing are the processes that help you to be light and salt indeed. That includes giving less priority to titles and rather focusing on impact. It's not to downplay titles, because sometimes the titles are a capture of many years of sacrifices, and so we'll not throw the baby and the bathwater together. We give honor to those who have, especially justifiably earned those titles, especially this academic, for instance. We don't downplay, but what we're saying is that the justification to any title is the impact that follows. and that the focus should be being light and salt in experience. So,
All right, so I have a question. My name is Lydia Eke. I work with Unilag Radio as a news editor. So for me, it's so profound what you spoke about, wounds. Many Nigerians are wounded. Apart from ministers, we find that these are the offshoots of what we do every day. Now the question is, how will I know I'm wounded? How will I know? When I go back home now and I sit down, I begin to have a very deep thinking and I look inward. How will I know that I'm wounded? And what are the practical steps I need to take, no matter who I am, so that I can really be healed, so I can help to heal others?
thank you very much. I think you answered the first question already. A deep time of meditation and contemplation usually would reveal whether or not an individual is wounded. The tendencies that sprout out of you are indicators. And then sometimes it is not un-Christian to meet a professional to help diagnose that emotional state. There are people who do not know they are wounded. Aside using the negative expressions that come out, sometimes they just need to be helped, really, because the wounds are so deep they can't help themselves. But generally the idea is that it is wounded people who have the likelihood of causing or meting out injury to others. And the idea is to get people to examine themselves and allow God to heal them. That way they become effective even as church leaders or political leaders. This is not just true for Christians. It's a thought that is applicable to all and sundry. When we teach, in as much as the basis of our discussion is the Word of God, our audience is the entire globe. So in as much as it's framed within the Christian conviction, but in terms of its application, we intend for everyone to benefit from it. And I think that this is what we seek to communicate.
So can I just add? I mean, thank you, sir, for getting into that, because I even think the teachings in the body of Christ needs to shift from too much of externals. Physical wounds, fine. Healings, it's great, but we are dealing with internal wounds more, emotional wounds, and like you said, how do I know? Why do you act the way you do? Like Paul said, the things I don't want to do, I just find myself doing it. So people need to ask, why am I always shouting on my wife? Why am I always, envious of other people? Why am I always trying to push others down so I can, or you think that's the way to rise? So pastors need to appreciate this dimension now, and then get the congregation to be aware, and then from scripture provide ways. Like what happened today now, many churches need it. And you'll be amazed how that service will go. It's deliverance. It's not the kind that some people know of. It's major deliverance. Just being aware that this you're buying bags excessively as a woman. You only use 5 and you're having 27 or 35. Could it be coming from something? Are you trying to compensate for something? This you're fighting your elder brother or younger brother. Like Eliab. Eliab in scriptures, that the day David was ordained in Hatum, was like that was the day he fingered him, and then when he saw him in the battlefront, the way he reacted. So when people understand that and they are whole, it will affect businesses, because all these things, some CEOs are just so deficient, and you see a CEO shout on the staff like he's a goat. So it will affect businesses, careers, politics. Many of the challenges we have with corruption is poverty. Many people grew up in poverty, they're trying to compensate for it, so they want to just stop money that 500 years they will still be spending. A lot of people don't know that that's a problem. And then for pastors, so I'm so glad we've gotten that kind of conversation, but we need to deepen it and democratize it more to, I feel it should be the mainstream of teachings. Some people are already grandfathers, and they are still dealing with wounds of 50, 60 years, passed it to the son, and they will now call it generational curse.
All right, so finally,
It's relevant for us as many of the youth today in Nigeria are wounded. Youths. So how do we get them healed? How do you get them along in the church?
Someone has programs, and this has to be all-inclusive. The church has a role to play, the government has a role to play, other institutions have a role to play, We set up programs that seek to heal at various levels. There's a limit to which government can come in where ministers of the gospel, we have an advantage of communicating healing from a spiritual standpoint, but we're all together involved in nation building. The building of nation is the building of the people there. So at various levels, we have, for instance, churches are involved in these kinds of programs. The government can be involved. I am sure that there are various agencies who are already involved in this. Activities that seem to or seek to build confidence in the youth. When the youth lose hope, everything is lost. So I would say at a territorial level, the government can amplify its efforts through the various agencies concerned to come up with youth development programs that instill hope, confidence, in the youth, and I think that would be a great addition.
So I wanted to add something.
Yeah, what I just want to add to what Apostle said is that, especially if you want to write about this, I would say that at the territorial level and at the church level, we need attitudinal change towards the younger people. Why did we have NSAS? Yesterday was the 4th of the anniversary of NSAS. It was the feeling of the society towards young people. They are suspecting them. You see a young person trying to express himself with dreadlocks. You say because he will be there. He's a young boy.
Stereotyping.
So, stereotyping them. Police will carry them. Even in church, when they come in, some pastors are already suspecting them and looking at them just because of how they look. I mean, every young person wants to gain expression. That expression could be wearing jeans. That expression could be, barbing somehow. Or it's just expression of their youthfulness. And government, like Apostle said, government agencies must now learn to accommodate our young people and how they express themselves. When Apostle was teaching, he talked about every human being looking for appreciation, value, being valued, being loved, all those things. Our society, generally speaking, does not offer that to young people. So we can't heal them until we offer that love, appreciation, acceptance. That we don't judge them just because of how they look or how they want to express themselves, because the world has changed. And with the advent of social media, they are learning things from different places. And we cannot influence them except to accept them. Yeah. So and start with government, then with the church, and then the home that they belong to. And before you know it, the healing will start to happen even naturally. Then later we can get to the level of therapy and all that. But then the environment is conducive and they feel accepted. Yeah, the healing will happen.
Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, to Pastor Godman. I have this challenge with accepting young people to this school, but we can't accept somebody with a dreadlock as a choir member. Somebody, a man who is wearing earring on the altar singing. How do we find that balance? Because I'm worried.
Okay, see, this madam is from Unilag FM. Yeah? In the University of Lagos, they have all kinds of fellowship here. What you just said now cannot work for them. Yeah. Go to Law University, go to different universities. These guys see their counterparts in different parts of the world. Yeah. Some of us have some of our kids schooling abroad. What they interact with every day is different from what you just said now. So if somebody a guy that weaves his hair, it does not affect, it's like Apostle taught us today, if in his discipleship, his heart, he has been taught consecration. How is he interpreting the consecration? If there's no way doing in the Bible that weaving his hair is not part of consecration, then he doesn't see that anything wrong. That means the biases that we have are more societal and traditional. And those biases are the things that we then need to work with.
Yes.
And it's gradually, because I say as I'm talking about you're breathing deeply. Yeah.
But that's the truth.
Yeah. It takes time for us to then see that we need to allow them. What do we see? If you listen to the message that Apostle Selman preached today, then you understand what I'm saying better. There's a curriculum to make a believer a disciple. We should be more concerned about how we're making them disciples. How they dress and how they comport themselves. It will be regulated as we make
As they
disciples,
go on. That's right.
rather than we're putting a fence in front of them.
Acceptance is very
Yeah.
What it was in store.
Okay, so on this note, we want to say thank you very much, sir. I want to say congratulations. There's hope for the church in Nigeria, and we, being the media, our part is to bring visibility. We will not be able to wink in the dark. So we'll take the stories out, and we know the revival is crossing the 7 mountains. Definitely, we trust God to do a great thing. Thank you very much.
So you write it properly, right? You write it properly, right?
No worry,
As usual.